Every morning, before the world demands your attention, before emails flood your inbox, and before responsibilities pull you in different directions, you have a choice. A choice to set the tone for the day, to decide what kind of person you will be, and to remind yourself of the things that truly matter. Most people wake up and immediately get swept away by urgency. They check their phones, react to messages, and rush into the chaos of the day without ever stopping to think. They move, but they don't necessarily move forward. They work, but they aren't always working towards something meaningful. And then at the end of the day, they wonder why they feel exhausted but unfulfilled, busy but not productive. The reason is simple: they lack clarity before action. Clarity is knowing why you do what you do. It's understanding what you stand for and what truly matters. When you start your day with clarity, you don't just react to life, you lead your life. You make choices based on what aligns with your values instead of being pushed around by circumstances. You don't just work hard, you work with purpose. Think about this: if you were about to go on a long journey, you wouldn't just start walking in any direction, hoping you'd eventually end up where you want to be. You would take a moment to map out the route, to understand where you are starting from and where you are going. Your day is no different. Waking up and rushing into action without clarity is like setting off on a journey with no destination. You might move, but you won't necessarily move towards something meaningful. So what does it mean to start with clarity? It means taking a moment each morning to remind yourself of a few fundamental things. Who do you want to be today? What kind of energy do you want to bring into the world? What are your priorities, not just on your to-do list, but in your life? Clarity doesn't happen by accident, it happens by intention. There's a simple but powerful practice that can change everything. Before you pick up your phone, before you dive into the demands of the day, take a few moments to reflect. It doesn't have to be complicated. Some people do this by journaling, others by meditating, and some just by sitting in silence for a few minutes. The method doesn't matter as much as the intention to remind yourself of what truly matters before the world tells you what it thinks is important. When you have clarity, you don't get distracted by every little thing that comes your way. You stop chasing what doesn't matter and you start focusing on what does. The difference between people who are constantly overwhelmed and those who seem grounded, even in the face of challenges, isn't luck, it's clarity. They know what they stand for, and that knowledge acts as an anchor, keeping them steady even when the waves get rough. Clarity also gives you confidence. Think about the last time you felt uncertain about something, maybe a decision, a goal, or even just how to handle a situation. Uncertainty drains energy. It makes you hesitate, second-guess yourself, and lose momentum. But when you're clear on what matters and why it matters, you don't hesitate. You act with conviction. You make decisions faster. You spend less time worrying about what others think, and you move forward with a sense of purpose. It's easy to think that clarity is something you need to find, as if it's hiding somewhere, waiting for you to discover it. But clarity isn't found, it's created. It's something you choose every single day. It doesn't require a grand revelation or a perfect plan. It just requires a simple habit: pausing before you start, setting your intention, and reminding yourself of what truly matters. Imagine how different your day would be if you started with clarity. Instead of feeling rushed and reactive, you would feel grounded and proactive. Instead of being pulled in 100 different directions, you would move forward with focus. Instead of ending the day wondering where the time went, you would end it knowing you spent your time on things that mattered. So tomorrow morning, before the world starts demanding your attention, before you check your phone, before you rush into action, pause. Take a breath. Remind yourself of what truly matters, because the way you start your day shapes the way you live your life. And when you start with clarity, everything else falls into place. Every day brings with it a new set of challenges. Some are small: a missed alarm, a tough conversation, an unexpected delay. Others are bigger: a job loss, a personal setback, a dream that seems further away than ever. And yet the way we respond to these challenges defines not just the outcome of the day, but the trajectory of our entire lives. Most people see challenges as obstacles, as roadblocks in their way. They resist them, complain about them, and sometimes even let them stop them entirely. But what if, instead of seeing challenges as something to avoid, we embrace them as opportunities? What if we stopped asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and started asking, "What can I learn from this?" The truth is, growth never happens in comfort. Nobody becomes stronger by avoiding resistance. No great success story is written without struggle. Every challenge, no matter how frustrating, is a chance to get better, to learn something new, to develop a skill, to build resilience. The people who succeed in life aren't the ones who avoid challenges. They're the ones who embrace them, who lean in instead of running away. Think about the most inspiring stories you've ever heard. They aren't stories of ease and comfort. They're stories of people who faced obstacles, who struggled, who failed, and then tried again. The greatest leaders, the most successful entrepreneurs, the most fulfilled individuals, they all have something in common. They didn't let challenges stop them. They saw them as part of the process, as fuel for their journey, not as reasons to quit. Imagine you're in the middle of a difficult situation right now. Maybe you're working toward a goal and nothing seems to be going right. Maybe you're facing rejection, criticism, or failure. In these moments, it's easy to think that something is wrong, that maybe you're not meant to do this, that maybe you should give up. But what if this struggle isn't a sign to stop? What if it's just a necessary step in the process? Most of us admire people who have achieved great things, but we forget what it took for them to get there. We see the success, not the late nights, the failures, the moments of doubt. Every person you look up to has faced moments where quitting seemed easier. The only difference between them and the ones who gave up is that they embraced the challenge instead of running from it. Challenges reveal who we are. When things are easy, anyone can be confident, anyone can be positive, anyone can stay motivated. But when things get tough, that's when character is tested. Do you give up or do you dig deeper? Do you complain or do you adapt? Do you see a challenge as a wall or as a door waiting to be opened? Embracing challenges doesn't mean you have to enjoy every difficult moment. It doesn't mean you have to pretend that struggle isn't hard. But it does mean you recognize that every challenge has something to offer you. It means you stop fighting against reality and start working with it. It means you take responsibility for your mindset, your effort, and your response. Some of the biggest breakthroughs in history came from people who refused to see challenges as permanent. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television. Walt Disney was fired for lacking creativity. If they had let those challenges define them, we wouldn't know their names today. But they didn't see failure as the end, they saw it as feedback. They didn't avoid the struggle, they embraced it. Now, think about your own life. What challenge are you facing right now? What's the thing that feels impossible, frustrating, or overwhelming? Instead of asking how to avoid it, ask how you can grow from it. Instead of seeing it as something standing in your way, see it as something that's shaping you into the person you need to become. Because here's the truth, you are stronger than you think. You are more capable than you realize. And the challenges you face today are not here to break you, they are here to build you. Every time you push through something difficult, you prove to yourself that you can handle more than you once believed. And with every challenge you embrace, you get one step closer to the person you are meant to be. So the next time life puts an obstacle in your path, don't see it as a reason to stop. See it as a reason to keep going. Because every challenge you embrace is one more step toward the future you are building. Every single day, whether you realize it or not, you are influencing the world around you. It doesn't matter if you have a title, a large audience, or a position of power. Influence isn't about authority, it's about impact. And impact isn't reserved for a select few. It's something you create through your words, your actions, and even your presence. The way you show up in the world matters. Every conversation you have, every decision you make, and every interaction, no matter how small, creates a ripple effect. You influence people not just by what you say, but by how you live. When you walk into a room, you bring energy with you. That energy can inspire, uplift, and encourage, or it can drain, discourage, and divide. Too often, people underestimate the power they have. They think influence is for leaders, speakers, or those with big platforms. But influence isn't about how many people are watching, it's about how you show up for the people who are watching. The way you treat a stranger, the way you respond in a difficult moment, the way you handle challenges, these things shape the people around you more than you realize. Think about the moments in your life when someone's words or actions changed the way you saw yourself. Maybe it was a teacher who believed in you when you didn't believe in yourself. Maybe it was a friend who encouraged you when you were ready to give up. Maybe it was a stranger who said something kind at exactly the right moment. Those moments matter. And just as others have influenced you, you are influencing others. Every single day. It's easy to think that making a difference requires something big, something extraordinary. But the truth is, influence happens in the small, everyday moments. It happens when you choose to listen instead of interrupt, when you offer support instead of criticism, when you lead with kindness instead of judgment. You never know who is watching, who is learning from you, who is being shaped by the example you set. You have more power than you think, and with that power comes responsibility. If you knew that your words could shape someone's confidence, would you choose them more carefully? If you knew that your actions could inspire someone to keep going, would you show up differently? The truth is, you don't always get to see the full impact of your influence. You won't always know whose life you've touched or whose path you've changed, but just because you don't see it doesn't mean it isn't happening. People remember how you make them feel. They remember the energy you bring, the support you give, the encouragement you offer. Long after the words are forgotten, the impact remains. The way you treat others creates a legacy, whether you realize it or not. And that legacy is built not in one grand moment, but in the countless small moments of everyday life. When you wake up each morning, you have a choice. You can move through your day on autopilot, unaware of the influence you hold, or you can be intentional about the impact you create. You can choose to be the person who lifts others up, who sees the best in people, who makes the world just a little better with every interaction. Leadership isn't about position, it's about influence. And influence isn't about fame, it's about presence. You don't need to have all the answers or be perfect to make a difference. You just need to show up, be present, and be intentional. Because every day, whether you know it or not, someone is looking to you as an example. So the question isn't whether you have influence, the question is how will you use it? Will you use it to build others up, to inspire, to encourage, to create positive change? Or will you waste it by assuming your actions don't matter? Because the truth is they do, they always have, and they always will. Every moment is an opportunity to leave something behind, not in the form of material things, but in the way you make people feel, in the lessons you share, in the kindness you give. And when you choose to embrace that, when you choose to step fully into your influence, you don't just change the lives of others, you change your own. Every day, we wake up and face the world with a choice. We can focus on what's missing, on what's wrong, on what we wish were different, or we can focus on what we have, on what's right, on what we can appreciate in this moment. That choice, where we place our attention, changes everything. And at the center of that choice is gratitude. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it's a mindset, a way of seeing the world. It's easy to be grateful when everything is going well, when life feels good, when success comes easily. But real gratitude, the kind that changes everything, is about choosing to see the good even when things aren't perfect. It's about recognizing that even in the struggle, even in the setbacks, even in the moments of uncertainty, there is still something to be thankful for. Most people go through life waiting for something big to happen before they feel grateful. They think, I'll be grateful when I get that promotion, or I'll be grateful when I find the right relationship, or I'll be grateful when life finally goes the way I want. But gratitude doesn't work that way. It's not something that comes after happiness, it's what creates happiness. When you start appreciating what you have, instead of focusing on what you lack, everything shifts. Think about the last time you truly felt grateful. Maybe it was a moment of quiet in the middle of a busy day. Maybe it was a conversation with a friend that reminded you of the support you have. Maybe it was something as simple as watching the sun rise, feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin, and realizing how much beauty exists in the world when you take the time to notice it. Gratitude isn't about grand gestures. It's about paying attention. Life will always have challenges. There will always be things that don't go as planned, moments of disappointment, days that feel harder than others. But gratitude gives you the power to shift your perspective. It doesn't erase difficulties, but it changes the way you experience them. Instead of seeing obstacles as unfair burdens, gratitude allows you to see them as lessons, as opportunities to grow, as reminders of what truly matters. When you practice gratitude, you start to realize how much you already have. You begin to see the people in your life differently, you appreciate them more, you recognize the little things they do, you become more present in your relationships, you begin to see your work differently. It's no longer just something you have to do, but something you get to do, an opportunity to contribute, to create, to make a difference. You begin to see yourself differently. You stop focusing so much on what you lack and start valuing who you are, where you are right now. Gratitude also shifts the way we interact with others. When you're grateful, you're more patient, more understanding, more generous. You stop taking things for granted. You say thank you more often, not just out of politeness, but because you genuinely mean it. You become the kind of person people want to be around because gratitude brings an energy that is contagious. Think about the people in your life who radiate positivity. They aren't the ones who have never faced struggles. They are the ones who have chosen to focus on the good, even in the midst of difficulty. They are the ones who remind you that no matter what's happening, there is still something to appreciate. And the beautiful thing is, you can be that person for someone else. Gratitude isn't just about feeling good in the moment. It has the power to transform your entire life. Studies have shown that people who practice gratitude regularly are happier, less stressed, and even healthier. They sleep better, have stronger relationships, and are more resilient in the face of challenges. Why? Because gratitude rewires the way we think. It trains our minds to look for the good instead of constantly dwelling on the bad. It reminds us that no matter how tough life gets, there is always something to hold on to. So how do you practice gratitude? It's simple. Start by noticing. Every day, take a moment, just a few seconds, to acknowledge something good. It could be the roof over your head, the food on your table, the people who support you, the lessons you've learned. Write it down, say it out loud, or just take a deep breath and feel it. And then act on it. Show appreciation. Tell the people in your life how much they mean to you. Say thank you more often. Find ways to give, to contribute, to be a source of gratitude for others. Because at the end of the day, gratitude isn't just about what you have, it's about how you see the world. And when you choose to see it through the lens of gratitude, everything changes. You become more present, more joyful, more fulfilled. Not because life is perfect, but because you've learned to appreciate it exactly as it is. Every day we are faced with a choice. We can wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect conditions, or we can move forward with what we have, where we are, and commit to progress. Too many people hold themselves back, believing they need everything to be just right before they start. But perfection is an illusion, and waiting for it only leads to frustration, hesitation, and missed opportunities. Progress, on the other hand, is real. It's something you can measure, something you can build upon, something that compounds over time. The most successful people in the world are not the ones who waited for perfection. They are the ones who started before they felt ready, who took action even when things weren't perfect, who kept moving forward even when they made mistakes. They understood that progress, not perfection, is what leads to true growth. Think about a child learning to walk. They don't stand up one day and suddenly take flawless, confident steps. They stumble, they fall, they get back up. And with each attempt, they get a little better, a little stronger, a little more balanced. If a child demanded perfection before taking their first step, they would never learn to walk at all. But they don't let failure stop them. They commit to progress. Yet as we grow older, we forget this simple truth. We become afraid of failing, afraid of looking foolish, afraid of making mistakes. We convince ourselves that if we can't do something perfectly, we shouldn't do it at all. But that mindset kills potential. It stops people from chasing their dreams, from taking risks, from creating something meaningful. It convinces them to stay in their comfort zones, even when they know they're capable of more. The problem with perfectionism is that it makes you focus on what's wrong instead of what's possible. It makes you see mistakes as proof that you're not good enough instead of proof that you're learning. It makes you fear failure so much that you never give yourself a chance to succeed. But what if, instead of chasing perfection, you committed to progress? What if you stopped trying to get everything exactly right and instead focused on getting just a little bit better each day? Progress is powerful because it builds momentum. When you focus on progress, you don't get stuck overanalyzing every detail. You don't waste time worrying about whether something is flawless. You take action, you try, you learn, and with each small step forward, you gain confidence. You prove to yourself that you are capable, that you are improving, that you are growing. Think about some of the greatest innovations in history. The first airplane didn't fly perfectly. It barely stayed in the air. The first light bulb didn't work on the first attempt. It took thousands of failures to get it right. The greatest athletes didn't start out as champions. They practiced, they refined, they improved. They committed to progress. Imagine if they had all waited for perfection, if they had refused to start until they had everything figured out. If they had given up after their first failure, the world would be a very different place. And the same is true for your life. The goals you have, the dreams you want to achieve, the impact you want to make, it won't happen if you wait for the perfect conditions. It will happen when you take that first step, when you keep going even when things aren't perfect, when you learn from every misstep and use it to move forward. The key to real progress is consistency. Small daily improvements lead to massive change over time. The problem is, people often underestimate the power of small steps. They think that if they can't make a huge leap, it's not worth doing at all. But progress isn't about giant leaps. It's about showing up, putting in the effort, and improving little by little. A writer who commits to writing 1 page a day will have a book in a year. A person who exercises for just 10 minutes a day will be healthier and stronger over time. A leader who works on developing their skills a little each day will be far more capable in the long run. Small steps lead to big results, but only if you keep taking them. So the question is, are you willing to trade perfection for progress? Are you willing to start before you feel ready? Are you willing to fail, learn, and try again? Because the people who succeed are not the ones who wait for the perfect moment. They are the ones who take imperfect action, adjust along the way, and never stop moving forward. The truth is, you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't need a flawless plan. You don't need everything to go perfectly. You just need to start, to commit to progress, not perfection, because perfection will always be out of reach. But progress is something you can choose every single day.